Hello and welcome to Make Lunch at Applestraton, and this is our next tutorial of your food bags that you've had this week. And today we're going to make something really nice and easy and tasty for the children to enjoy as well, and that's some muffin pizzas. So the first thing I'm going to do is just lightly toast the bottoms of our muffins, because when they cook with the ingredients on top, the bottom might not be that crispy. So I'm just going to cut them in half and put them under the grill just for a couple of minutes so that we get some texture into the bottom of those muffins. So take my grill pan, put them face down onto the grill, and just must remember to get them out after a couple of minutes. So the next thing that we're going to do is to learn how to do lots of chopping. Now, it's excellent idea to let the children do as much of this as they can, because we do know that when children help prepare their food, they're more likely to try new things and to enjoy putting the things together, and they're more likely to eat them. So I'm going to start with a red pepper, and you should have some pepper in your parcel this week. And so this one's already been started, and you can see how they have this lovely inside with the seeds. Great for a still life if you want to do some drawing. So the first thing we're going to do is take out this core, and we're going to cut round the top here, just really carefully, minding your fingers, and then that should just break away from inside. And you can see that there's still lots of the white and the seeds. Now, the seeds themselves are very bitter, and so is quite often the white. So what we're going to do again is, using your knife, where possible, working away from yourself, just run the knife along the edge of that white and just take it out. And then, bearing in mind we've only got fairly small muffins, so I'm going to cut this in half this way, and then just make some little fine strips of some red pepper. Now, the great thing about pizza is that you can choose whatever you like. So not sure what vegetables you might end up with in your packs this week, so I'm just going to show you some ideas about things that you can. There's my toasted muffins ready. So, good old mushroom. I will tend to certainly not peel, and I'm not inclined normally to wash them. If they've got any soil left on them, the growing compound, then you can just wipe them with a damp cloth. So again, just to cut them in half and put them on a flat side. This is going to be my mantra. This is best and safest way of cutting everything, is to make something flat before you go at it. So we've got it on a flat surface, and then I'm just going to make some nice thin slices of mushroom that we can use. And this way, again, nothing gets wasted. Just cut them across that way. Right, I'm going to show you on some carrot and some courgette now. If you're wanting to do slices of courgette, this is quite big, so that would take up an awful lot of space on your muffin and would overwhelm perhaps in the flavour. So we've got two ways of doing this. We can either, I'm going to cut this one in half, cut the bottom off, and again, we're going to start with a flat surface, and this is the safest way, and then we're going to cut into thin strips this way, and as you can see, it stays really still and you're not in any danger. And then if you want to make that smaller, then we can either cut this way to make some small pieces, or you can cut long ways. It really doesn't matter. So there's some courgette to go on top of your pizza. The other way we can do this is by grating, and this makes a much finer amount to go on the top. And there you have some grated courgette, and we do exactly the same with the carrots. Now this one is a new carrot and I have washed it. I haven't peeled it because most of the goodness is just under the skin. There's nothing on there, having given it a good scrub, that is going to do you any harm. I'm just going to take the top and the bottom off, and we can do exactly the same thing as we did with the courgette. So I'm going to cut this in half and then turn my board around so you can see past the other vegetables. We're going to make one small slice down the side, put that to one side, and then turn the carrot over so it's got a nice flat surface. And then we're going to slice this way, as we said last week, just putting the blade of the knife point down first. Then a flat surface, discard the round edges for now, and then we can make those as thin as we like. Just mind your fingers on the last ones, and then these can be sliced up just like that. So we've got that, and we can do exactly the same as we did with courgette, or we can grate it, and grated carrot is great for putting onto these toppings as well. So there is our vegetables. Oh, I've got some tomatoes as well. These are little cherry tomatoes, which are ideal at the moment. So whether you've got whole tomatoes or cherry ones or plums. Another top tip, here is the top with the stalk in. Everyone always cuts this way. That's how all the middles fall out of your tomatoes. If you turn it on its side, so you've got the stalk to one end, and slice the bottom of it first, then as you slice it, you will see that it stays intact and all its middles are in contact and are less likely to fall apart, and that looks much nicer, and then you don't get all the issues with the seeds dribbling everywhere as well. So there's our tomatoes. So I'm going to take our muffins, and the first thing we're going to do is, you will have received a tube of tomato puree. I've got some in a pot, so I'm going to use this up first, and we're going to spread the base of the muffin with some tomato puree, and if you cover to the edges where possible, it just stops it catching when you put it under the grill. And this one goes under here. You can just hear the bottom of my muffin has got a nice little bit of crunch on it, so when the cheese melts on the top, you'll have a crispy base and a melted top. And there is your base, and that's the same as you would get with virtually any commercial pizza. It's all made from just a thickened tomato sauce, which is the tomato puree. Then, oh, one thing that I forgot to chop up was some onion, and I'm using a spring onion here today. If you've got any onions left over, or you've got some spring onions, these are great. Again, we just chop the root off, peel the outside off so this is nice and clean, and I would discard just the very end tips because they tend to be a little dry. And I'm going to slice very thinly my spring onion at this end, and I'm also going to do some green bits at the other because that will add some nice colour to the pizza too. So we've got some onion, we've got carrot, we've got courgette, we've got some pepper, we've got some mushroom and tomato, and then it's all about building your pizzas. So the first thing I'm going to do is put some onion near the bottom, just sprinkle those over the top, and then I think I'm going to have some sliced courgettes on this one, and some grated courgettes on this side. And then we'll swap over and have the grated carrot on this side. And this is the great thing, you can do absolutely anything with your pizzas. You can make faces, or perhaps you can take this week's theme and see if you can make your pizza on this week's theme. So we've got smiley face mouth there if you wanted one, and oh, I haven't got any carrot there. So these are quite small, so just little pieces of fruit and veg, and the carrot here will just add a little bit of bite, a crunch to this, so that would be nice. And then I'm going to put some mushrooms on, because I don't think you can have too much as a topping really on a good homemade pizza. And then what I've already pre-grated, because I'm sure everybody knows how to grate their cheese, is a bowl of cheese, and I'm going to sprinkle this on the top. And another top tip on this is if you do it on a baking wire rack, then the cheese will fall through and you can pick it up and rescue it and reuse it and put it back round again. So cover my cheese on the top, and then because I think it always looks quite nice this way, I'm going to put my tomatoes just on the top like that, and they are ready for going under the grill, which has been on ever since I toasted the undersides, so it should be nice and hot. So put these onto the grill just like that, and you can see the cheese that's left behind. If you were on a wire rack, then you'd be able to pick all this up and put it back on top of your pizzas. So I'm going to put those under there for a few minutes. I haven't got the most fierce grill, so that's going to take a few minutes to cook. So that's how we make them with muffins. You might get pita breads, which you can do without cutting in half, just leave them whole and use exactly the same process, putting the tomato puree on the base and then building it up. You could get shop bought pizza bases if that's easier for you, or try making scone mixture for those of you who like to bake a cake. Then if you make a scone mixture but leave out the sugar and put a pinch of salt in with your mixture and make a bigger scone, that makes a great pizza base too. That's a really good tip if you've got flour and things that you want to use up that's in the store cupboard. And the great thing about making these pizzas is you can choose whatever toppings that you might have in your fridge. They're great for using up vegetables that perhaps have gone a little bit tired, or you haven't got enough for a single portion. Then this is a really good way. And again, as the children have helped make all of their toppings and chosen what to put on them, they're much more likely to eat them, and therefore be eating more vegetables than they might do. So my pizzas have had 3 or 4 minutes under my grill, so we'll have a look to see if they're done, and they're doing nicely. I might have given them another couple of minutes, but as you can see, we've got all those lovely vegetables, all the cheese has melted onto the top. And before cooking, for any of you who like a bit more flavour, we can be adding some herbs, whether you've got something fresh from the garden or some of the ones in the packet that you received last week. So always good store cupboard staples to be able to add to that, and I think that makes a really lovely healthy lunch, or perhaps you can all sit round for tea, or even a snack item during the course of the day if you're dashing in and dashing back out again, because it really does only take 10 minutes. So that's us for this week. I hope you have another lovely fabulous week, and that you'll join us again next time for our next recipe at Make Lunch Up Stratton. Have a good week. God bless.